Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel Three Friends. Here I am going with a new series. In this I am going to explain about exceptions and exception handling and how to create a thread and what is thread and how to perform tasks and how to create all such programs. In this there are multiple videos. So hope all of you like this and share and subscribe.
Well, now let's be going to video. In this, we come to know about sequence of work doing, flow of work, exceptions, and about the topics related to exceptions. First, we should know about sequence of work doing. Means this work which we will do completing one work after another work. Means consider your daily routine. First thing you do is wake up. After wake up, you do your brush. After your brush, you get fresh up. After that, you eat tiffin and you go to works. So this is the set of sequences. Okay. Now let us know about flow of work. After completing of one work, you will shift to another work. Right. So first you will be wake up. Then later on you get brush up. Then later on you get fresh up. After that you ate your breakfast and complete your works. So now this here we have proper flow, but in case of an event which breaks this flow is known as exceptions. Let's consider an example for this. If you consider a guy who goes to office on his car, this maybe doesn't look like a car, but adjust for it, to office. Okay, that's his office. In this case, his daily flow of work is he first need to get fresh up. Later on he need to drive his car to the office. Then he need to log in, means he need to scan his ID card in the office. So it is his daily work and it's the flow of work. So now let me tell what are his exceptions. In case there is puncture in his tire, or he may forgot his ID, all such things comes under exceptions. Means in case of the tire got punctured, let's consider his tire got punctured. So that this, if he tires got punctured, he gets late to the office, which is not his daily routine. Means let me tell again the meaning of exception. The unwanted event which stops or disturbs the flow of work. Means his flow of work is to daily fresh up and get ready for the office, and then he need to drive the car, and later on need to go to office. But in case of his tire got punctured, he gets late to the office, which is not his flow of work. So this is an exception for him. And there are other few such exceptions, but this is a real life exception. But in mathematical, in programmable, we have exceptions are of two types: compile time exceptions, runtime exceptions. This doesn't mean that the exceptions comes at compiling time, the exceptions comes at runtime. Just every exception, this is the note point that you need to know. Every exception will be known at runtime only. No such exception that we cannot compile time. Okay, now this doesn't define based on which time the exception has been found. These are defined based on, if an compiler can find the exception, then it is called compile exception. If a compiler cannot find the exception, then it is called runtime exception. Okay, in case of compile time expressions, there are there are some exceptions like interrupted, all such things. But whereas in runtime there are arithmetic exceptions. These are the some few examples of these expressions. Let me explain it further with the help of some code, but before that you need to know about some of the basic properties of these exceptions to handle. Now let us know about exception handling. Exception handling means nothing but on even though there is an exception in the program, by using some set of code or some set of statements, we can handle these exceptions, which means we can delete the exceptions, or we can stop the we can stop the exceptions works, means the flow of the work will be as usual. Now let me tell you the reasons for which the exceptions gets occur. Our first reason is invalid input. On giving an invalid input, there may be a chance of getting an exception, but we cannot tell this is only the reason. There are quite lot of the reasons for any reason for exceptions. So in that there are any device failure, any arithmetic errors, next database errors, next code errors, and many other things. These are the not only these, there are many things that are reason for the exceptions. So on solving all these, we can get a proper answer or proper flow of the program. And now let us discuss about what is the difference between errors and exceptions. Okay, firstly we talk about errors. Now let us discuss about errors and exceptions differences. Now talking about the errors, these are the reasonable applications problems. Means if there is a problem for an application, then that's for writing an application or writing any program, then those are called as errors, which these cannot be tried or catch up. But whereas exceptions, these are conditions that are reasonable for the program. These can be tried and catch up. Means in this, on rectifying the errors, we can solve this. But in this exception, if there is a reason for the exception, then we should give an answer. What should the person do to overcome the exception? In case of the tire got punctured, consider a tire got punctured. What do a person do? He will replace it with stepney. So in this, we are saying that to if you get any exception, what the work you should do. But in case of errors, if he gets his car failed, consider his car got failed, then what will he try to do? He'll go to a repair shop and repair his car. Means he is rectifying the problem, whereas here he is replacing the problem. Means I think you understand the difference between errors and exceptions. So now let's go into our next topic. Exception hierarchy is it classified from main object class. Hope all of you know about this. After that, it is moved to throwable class. In this, we have two kind of topics: exceptions, errors. Okay, this is the hierarchy. First, all the elements will be stored in an object class. In this object class, there will be a throwable class. In this throwable class, there were two exceptions and errors. Now on coming to exceptions, we have two types. These are checked and unchecked, which means runtime, compile time and runtime. As usual, I have said before, exceptions are only things which all comes at runtime only, but these can be verified by the compiler. Checked means these can be known by the compiler are known as checked exceptions. The exceptions which cannot be known by the compiler are known as unchecked exceptions. Okay, in case of errors, we have many types of errors like virtual error, assertion error. These are classified into many types. Actually, these weren't the main errors. There were still some lot more errors. Now let me go with the concept of built-in exceptions and user-defined exceptions. Every exception is classified into two types: built-in and user-defined. Built-in expressions are the exceptions which were predefined. Means these exceptions are already known by the compiler. No, there is no such thing that the user is trying to give newly. Whereas an user defined error exception means in this an user gives few conditions so that if it doesn't follow those conditions then it is an exception. So let me tell with a example with a program later on, but now try to get understand what is the definitions of those. Now
Okay.
talking about exception handling. To handle any exceptions, we need few methods or classes. In this, we have try, catch, final, etc. methods. The try statement helps us to define a block of code that the compiler should be tested if there weren't no errors or exceptions. If there is any exception, then that will be handled by catch. So that if there were any exceptions, the catch will be the block which has some set of statements that should do when an exception occurs. When the use of final is to end the program or end the exception, which means it tells the state compiler or tells or helps us to know the whether the exception is over or not yet. So final is used for the ending of any exception. Explain the syntax for try. There wouldn't be much. For every syntax of try is like try, open the parenthesis means open the floor brackets, and now write some set of statements that should perform by the compiler. If there is any exception, then open any catch file. Catch will be in this form. There will be a parenthesis, and here we have two parameters. Means exceptions. One is the exceptions name, and other is the exceptions word. Means an element which acts as an object for the exceptions. Now coming to finally, the finally exceptions are like this is the syntax of finally. Here we will have some set of code or set of statements which helps us to perform some things. So with this I think hope all of you understand the concept of exceptions. Now let me help you with knowing these concepts using coding.